forget about it.
Well,
We don't have.
what better way
I
to
don't buy the money thing, because they have to be smart enough to authorize it. They're doing a dominated operation. They have to be smart enough to dominate
I think the reason that I thought it paused the last time was because he was in here doing a lot of, like, construction on the same day. Andy, because he was in here that very day. Yeah.
operating rooms, restaurants. Okay, that makes sense. I could get some. Right. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Dearborn County Board of Commissioners meeting Monday, February 3rd, 2025. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As a recipient of federal funds and in support of Dearborn County's efforts to ensure non-discrimination and equal access to all citizens, the county gathers statistical data regarding participants in county activities. Therefore, we have provided a voluntary Title VI public involvement survey at this meeting. You are not required to complete this survey. However, the form is anonymous and will be used solely for the purpose of monitoring our compliance with Title VI and the ADA.
Thank you, Andrew. Moving to old business, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting schedule. Tabled from a prior meeting. If you want to take the lead on this.
My request is to change the times of the meeting to better suit, I guess, working people who want to try to get here. For myself, actually, the morning meeting earlier would help me also, but I would like to move the morning meetings to 8:30 and the evening meetings to 6. I was thinking later, but then it gets too much, and 6 gives ample time for most people to be able to get here from their work. If they work at 5 o'clock in Cincinnati, gives them time to make the drive. And,
do you really think that half hour in the morning would make a difference?
me it would, but.
I heard that part.
I'd be fine with either of those, especially the 6 o'clock one in the evening. That's great. The half an hour, in the morning, to me, that does help me personally, but we also have some people that help us out here that are,
I get here about 7, so.
about 7:30, so you're fine with that? I
We'll
mean,
just have it down.
if it helps the public out, then great, I'm for it.
Did I hear you guys say you're okay with 8:30?
8:30 and 6, fine.
And the morning meeting, because when I started, it was 6 o'clock both meetings a month. They started doing the morning meeting for situations where there were employees that where they needed to come to the commissioners meeting, and then rather than have them wait around until 6 o'clock to go to a commissioners meeting, that's when we switched to one morning meeting and one evening meeting.
Yeah, I looked back in time and I saw there was some variances on the times, so.
Yeah.
You want to make a motion?
I make a motion, we move the meetings, the morning meetings start at 8:30 and the evening meetings start at 6.
I will second that motion.
Do we need to do any kind of a, motion to approve the schedule as for dates?
As amended, with the amended
I
times.
amended.
Okay.
So I make a motion to change the meeting times, or use the meeting schedule with the amended times of 8:30 and 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
As long as you don't do it later.
Will you,
to help
make,
Board of Health have 30.
okay. All right. Boards for the new District 3 Commissioner. Kevin, looks like you're going to be appointing the OKI, the Emergency Management and Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council.
That sounds great to me.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that? Or just, okay.
I make a motion to appoint Kevin to the 3 listed boards.
Okay.
I will second the motion to take this board.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, citizen boards.
I did confirm with Austin Woods, Kevin, you haven't been here for this. When we redid our interlocals for 911, one of the things that we heard from the cities and towns is that they would like to have a little more input.
Yeah,
And
I'm aware of that.
So we modified the 911 board to give 2 appointments jointly to the mayors of Aurora, Greendale, and Lawrenceburg. and that's what those two would be, Anthony Smart and Austin Woods. There's already a couple people from Orangeburg on that board, so this would give some representation to Greendale and Aurora. And then jointly, one appointment to Moores Hill in Dillsboro, and one jointly to St. Leon and West Harrison. So, the appointments are subject to the approval of the commissioners. That's not anything new. That was in there for all the other appointments also. The motion would be to accept the appointments of Anthony Smart and Austin Woods to the 911 Communication Board.
I will go ahead and move that we appoint Anthony Smart and Austin Woods to the 911 Communication Board. Very well aware of these two men, and they would be good additions.
Okay.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Cemetery Board will continue to be tabled, no recommendations at this time. Next meeting date is what?
Cemetery, Denny said he was gonna do one in March. They weren't able to do one in February. They were gonna push one off. They were trying to get one scheduled, but they didn't have enough time to get their notice out. So Sue and I were gonna work with him on getting that taken care of for March. Back to, real quick, to the 911 Communication Board. If you have somebody in Dillsboro or Moores Hill that you can poke, because I've emailed their council and said, hey, there's one for you guys, and I've emailed council for St. Leon and West Harrison also. I haven't heard from anybody.
Okay.
So right now, we would be operating too short on the board.
I'll reach out to both councils, the presidents.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'll reach out to St. Leon.
Good.
Thank you.
And I'll reach out to both of them.
There's a lot of reaching.
Okay, the Cemetery Board then will, motion to table the Cemetery Board until the one of the March meetings. He doesn't know which one at this point.
Right.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
One question on that, is there a way we could get a job description, what they're looking for, so, because I know people that are interested in cemetery and in the history and cleaning up and stuff, but what is that?
Yeah,
Or is there a job description? Kind of what they do?
there's statutes that govern, the cemeteries that are responsible, to be, covered by the county, and that's what the Cemetery Commission does. If you have somebody that's in the history side of things, that would be great, because that's what Art Wenzel was wonderful about, was the history side of it, just knowing about it.
I just didn't know if I could send them a list of what they have to do, the duties on that board.
Yeah, so it's Indiana Code 23-14-67 is care of cemeteries by counties, and that talks about the Cemetery Commission, and there's not really anything that says here's what their powers and duties are. I mean, it's in a article that deals with cemetery associations, so it would generally be just the care of cemeteries. And see, some cemeteries are responsible to be cared for by the county, some are responsible to be cared for by the township, some of them are privately held and cared for privately. So
it's basically to maintain or oversee the maintenance and care of a county-run cemetery.
And I think that in past too, if they've gotten complaints about, sometimes complaints go to the Cemetery Commission, and then the Cemetery Commission in turn would work with the township trustee to make sure that figured out, yes.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Does Dennis have someone he wants on the cemetery board? Or is he
I haven't heard from him, no.
looking?
He had sent an email out and kind of just went through that about, with Art, when Art was on there, they were pretty active, and then, that's fallen off. So, I don't know how many of the cemeteries in the county actually fall under the Cemetery Commission, really. Mostly what you hear about is that the township trustees are taking care of things, so, or you hear about when they're not taking care of things.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to the redevelopment members. We currently have Jim Deaton, Jim Mansfield, and Tom Teepee as current members sitting on that board, with a recommendation of Trevor Bischoff. Do you want to discuss that?
Trevor, and I'll start out, Trevor is not related to me, so we'll start there. He did come to me after I won the primary and was interested in getting involved in the county. He's a young gentleman from the St. Leon area, works in real estate, so his business fits kind of development as far as the knowledge of what it is. Rose Holman graduate, just a smart young man.
Yeah.
and my thought is trying to get somebody involved that it's gonna affect their lives for a longer period of time than any of us. I mean, he's young, got family started, so 30 years from now, 40 years from now, he's still gonna be dealing with these decisions things that we're making now. So that's my thought, is to try to get somebody in there that, maybe more up to date on what's happening in the real estate world and development world.
Do you have any input?
So is he the only one that's been recommended?
No, all three of those.
Oh, three of these guys,
They're-
okay.
So redevelopment appointments are one-year appointments. Tom Teepee was added late last year to finish out the term of Jim Helms.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Dave Dedden got off the board, Jim Helms quit right at the end of the year, asked to get off. Tom Teepee filled his spot for 1 month, and then we've been pushing off, refilling it until we have a full board here.
Okay. So I know Tom, I know that he's, you know, businessman and for a long time, would have a lot of input. Do like the, you know, getting somebody new in there or somebody that would like to, broaden our generational knowledge base.
We'll give a different perspective.
Yeah, different perspective. This being a pretty important board, especially with a lot of the stuff we have coming down the pipe, and a lot of asks of, for tips, for abatements and stuff like that. It's a pretty serious position on the board, to do that. So, you feel like Mr. Bischoff would have enough experience to make those sort of decisions?
Yeah, I do, I really do. I mean, I don't wanna upset the board and change the whole board over, but I just think getting someone with a different perspective and a different viewpoint. You know, with a different mindset of what me and you know, we think at our generational level was he's the other, the next generation coming up, and it's the future. I mean, those are the future commissioners and board members and council members, for our county, so let's get them involved now so that they can develop it and then maybe step up.
I think I'm all on board with getting someone involved now, but I'm not sure that moving Trevor onto the redevelopment board at this time is the right decision because of some of the things that, some of the things that are going on with redevelopment, and the folks that are currently on there are all good business people and know how to negotiate those types of issues. So what I'd like to see is Trevor get on a board to get some seasoning and then be able to move up to the next slot when somebody retires from the redevelopment board. I mean, that's my feelings and my input. So.
What, I have also, did you figure out, are we?
So, yeah, so Dwayne asked me right before the meeting, so our redevelopment is a 5-person redevelopment. Statute does allow counties to do either 5 or 7. So right now, it's a 5-person board with a non-voting school board member, 3 commissioner appointments, 2 council appointments. Statute does allow counties to switch to a 7-person, and it's 4 and 3 instead of 3 and 2. So it would be 4 commissioner appointments, 3 council appointments, and then your non-voting school board.
So we could elect all these folks to the redevelopment board.
It require an ordinance, but, I mean, if you'd have to table it again, but I could get
That's
something.
not an issue.
Yeah.
Well, I think that sounds like probably the good solution to it.
And the council would then have to appoint 1 more person also.
I think that's,
Because there's a lot.
yeah, then we're getting more people involved and, yeah,
And then if somebody can't be there, you still have a larger board
yeah, to make it forum.
to make a.
My take on it is every time you get more than one person at the table, you can't get a decision. Anyway, I'm okay with that.
Sounds like you'd be right
I
there.
want to keep the seasoned people in place
Well, I get that.
and then bring this guy along.
Non-voting.
That works.
Well, if we do this, that gets him involved with more
That's fine.
experienced people, but it still gives his voice, a
That's
different
fine.
voice to the board.
Andy, could you go ahead and, make up a?
Yeah, make an
ordinance?
ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I move we table this, pending, review by the county attorney for possibly,
Ordinance change.
ordinance change.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Teamwork.
What did we do?
We tabled, the redevelopment board position, pending Andy getting,
I mean, it's basically,
Who was first?
what, I was switching.
We're
to
gonna
that.
table it until the next meeting. So, okay, new
I'll talk to you
business.
after.
Yeah, 2025 Economic Development Service Agreement with One Dearborn. Mr. Pace, you want to,
Sure, yeah, I can go real quick. I don't have a whole lot for you, just asking that you consider the Economic Development Service Agreement with One Dearborn. This will cover the 2025 year. Within the agreement, stated our economic development services, the things that we do on a day-to-day basis, for the county. But just to provide a little background on our work over the last 5 years at One Dearborn, we have helped secure $16.5 million in grant funds over the last 5 years, including Ready 1, Ready 2, the Stellar Pathways that we were just designated, just to name a few of those. Also on the private investment side, One Dearborn has had a role in facilitating up to $26.15 million in private investment through business attraction and expansion projects such as Dyke Industries, Kaiser Pickles, Brighton Mills, iMedical, CM Mockbee, MSW Packaging, to name a few more. So yeah, that's kind of what we do. We're staying busy and working hard, and the agreement that we presented here is for 2025. So you can take a look at it, consider it.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No, I've really already.
If you went to their meetings,
I was at their, first quarter, or first annual, I guess, start of the year meeting.
First quarter, annual, both, yeah.
Yeah.
And then just for, if Jim and if you and Kevin are both fine with this, I know Dwayne, so if you recall, One Dearborn added a governmental member just for more transparency. And Dwayne was just asking me about that, and if you both are in favor of this, renewing this agreement, that would allow him to abstain, just to feel better about the fact that you're on that board also. If you wanted to do that, you would be able to.
So, okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept the economic development, service agreement with One Dearborn.
I second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Yeah, if anything comes
Yeah.
up, just.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
If you have anything on your agenda, you have questions.
Okay.
Here's my signature.
Yeah, just your.
And Gage, when your board is done, you just scan it. And Kyle.
There you go, sir. Okay. Next up, under new business, is the travel advisories, EMS Director Jason Sullivan.
Morning. I just have the one thing for you tonight, or this morning. It's a travel advisory that we issued on January 19th at 4:30 PM, and this was for the extreme cold temperatures and wind chills that we received. So at 4:30 on the 19th, we went under a yellow travel advisory, and then we lifted that on the 25th at 12:30 PM. So I just need a motion from this board to accept that travel advisory declaration.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
We can move on for discussion.
Will.
Don't jump too quick. Okay.
You might have questions, but
Yeah.
Just a comment, we sent the letter out, yes, I'm one that you may get some, I know, to a couple people that responded back, so.
I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. If it happens.
For sure.
I don't know. That'd be tough.
I'm gonna get your copy this later this week.
4:30 on the 19th to 12:30 PM on the 27th.
I'll get you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Okay, 911 Director recommendations. I think we all received a letter from the 911 Board, Advisory Board.
Correct.
And they had two recommendations. The one favorable recommendation is sitting here, and that's Mr. Chris Heitmar. I had given Chris a couple of tasks to take care of once he was appointed the interim. What he doesn't know is those tasks were actually tests to make sure that we had someone in place that was going to be responsive and responsible for the 911, which is a very important position. Chris came through with flying colors in my estimation. I didn't have to follow up. He provided me with what I was looking for within a few days with recommendations, and I'd never seen that before. And then he was able to implement all that, working with other departments to get it done. And that was to increase the run times, or decrease the run times to locations throughout the county. An example is that Martin used to go to Perfect Northville and drive right by Greendale on their way. So that never made sense to me, so we changed that and several other things to improve the response times. So I would like to make the recommendation, Kevin, to make Chris Heitmar the new 911 director for Dearborn County.
Because I've observed what you did as far as changing something that me as the guy on this board who's been in public safety forever and looked at that silliness. You changed something that's been screwed up for 40-something years. So I certainly would make a motion to accept you as, make a motion to accept you as 911 director.
Do you have any discussion?
No, I mean, just everything I've heard he's done, a great job, knows that comes from the community of Dearborn County, so.
10 years down there.
Yeah, it's just working his way up like you should do, so I have no problem seconding that, yeah.
Okay, there was a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Thank you.
You now own 911, run it like it's yours, okay? Thank you. Mr. Listerman, we have an unofficial detour agreement with NDOT.
Todd Listerman, County Engineer, for the two new commissioners, to explain the process. When the state of Indiana closes a state route, the county is able to select a route around it to be considered as the unofficial detour. It is not signed, it is not marked. However, we keep track of the road, and if it needs extensive maintenance due to the additional traffic for the closure, then we can go ahead and seek reimbursement from the state of Indiana, NDOT. With that being said, for those who don't know, the Iron Truss Bridge there at State Road 46, there just west of US 52 is closed, or right now it's temporary signals. It will close starting the 1st of June and all the way through October to be completed in November of next year, or this year, sorry, 2020. 2026, that's right.
6 of the year.
Yeah. It says 2026, so they actually showed 2 years of it, so, it's 2 different projects, that's why. So you're gonna have project 1 and project 2. There's the Big Iron Bridge, and there's another structure just west, or just east of White Hill Road. So they'll actually have it closed for it looks like a year. So, the official detour is, I-74, okay, there from St. Leon down to West Harrison, which most traffic will use semis and things like that. However, the locals that live close, that would be like on White Hill, the odds of them driving west to go east is not very good. So
Not happy anyway.
makes not happy. The detour would be up White Hill, down North Dearborn, back to Harrison Brookville Road would be the unofficial detour. It's a long detour. How many people will use it? I don't know. But you get to pick a route. That's the best route around if you're gonna use local roads. So this agreement is just saying that that will be the route that we will use, and we will monitor for additional maintenance due to the fact that State Road 46 will be closed for a year.
So question, do you go pre-closure and evaluate the road, do like a written evaluation?
NDOT will videotape it.
Is that way? Okay. That was my
They'll come back and videotape it after, okay? I will then look at, as we do maintenance on the road, we have a record system, So every daily that the crews do tells you what road we worked on, what we did, how much truck, how much material we worked on. And then we go back at the end of it. I will look and work with Mr. Drivey to see if we hit anything out of the ordinary,
Right.
above and beyond on that route. If we do, then we'll go figure out how much was extra, and we'll go ahead and figure those costs, and then we'll send in a breakdown of those costs to get reimbursed.
If we do have to put weight restrictions on that, Andy, do we, have to?
That's what I was gonna ask, do we need to do the truck restriction? We've done that in the past.
I just don't think there's reason. I'm trying to figure out why would a truck not drive down 74?
Right.
Well, if
Well, other than they
basically
will
come down
put it in their
46.
GPS.
We can look at that, we can look at that at the time, and that allows us to do that, and we can do that if needed, the highway department. I'll monitor it and see what it looks like. But again, I don't wanna say no trucks, but no trucks, because then we still, trucks that have to get to, Bright, that would normally run down White Hill Road, and maybe that's the route they take, you know what I'm saying? I doubt it.
We have the ability.
We have the
If there's an
ability.
issue- if there's an
If we-
issue, we have the
basically, I don't wanna do it until I see that it really is a problem. It becomes a problem. I do not see it as being a problem, just because of the fact that 74 is so close for trucks. And I figure that's most people are gonna drive anyway.
The only bad time would be if there's an accident on 74 headed eastbound, and the GPS directs them off,
Right.
down 46 and then through the back roads, which shouldn't, but,
Yeah, that's something we'll have to monitor that point.
yeah.
As long as we have the ability to do that, because I foresee that at any time that you put a detour.
Our
in
ordinance
there-
allows me to do that.
Yeah.
If necessary.
Yeah, as long as we have that, because every time that you do a detour, that's the first thing that gets complained on is they've sent all the semis down my road.
Right.
So as long as we have that in our toolbox, then
Right.
I'm fine.
Have you notified the, local emergency response people, or does the state do that?
State will do that when it gets to that point,
Okay,
but
because I always get a call, I just wanna make sure that somebody's contacting them, let them know what's going on in advance, so that
Correct.
they can make their plans.
Correct. And they should have already been notified through, the planning phase within, but I'll double check, I'll follow up on that.
All right, that's important.
If he thinks it's an issue, all he has to do, just so you guys are aware, by our ordinance, is come to a meeting and request a closure. And it's a simple motion, like there's not a resolution or ordinance or
Okay,
anything.
good.
If it were, we've had situations where it's like, look, this road needs to, truck traffic needs to be prohibited permanently, that would require an ordinance. But if it's just a temporary closure, he would request a motion to restrict truck traffic on whatever roads for a certain period of time. Then once that period of time elapses, it expires automatically.
Okay, good.
All right.
So, Jim, we need a motion to,
We need a motion to approve the unofficial detour agreement with NDOT for closure of State Route 46 west of US 50, as presented by County Engineer Tom Instrument.
So moved.
have a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Just need to sign over there. That's all I have.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Tom. So can we have your phone number? So when people call and complain, we'll know where to send it.
Yep, I get them.
Call forwarding.
All part of the job. Ms. Hayden, you have anything for us?
I just want to remind you that I'll be out of the office around noon today and returning Thursday because of the AIC legislative conference.
Good luck with that. Thank you. Ms. Ronhold, claims? Yeah, we'll get there. All right. Mr. Turner, motion to approve claims?
So moved.
Mr. Bishop,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. more than one now? No.
No.
Okay. Payroll? Motion to approve payroll.
Motion approved, payroll.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Kevin, yours looks as bad as mine.
Yeah, no, I
I don't feel bad now.
Mr. Probst, I do anything else?
My favorite's just Ted Humphries,
Oh, yes.
just circle.
Okay. Minutes.
January 21st meeting.
I'll just stay right up my butt. I have to take a look.
Mr. Turner, motion to approve the January 21, 2025 Board of Commissioner meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Mr. Bodensville, you have anything for us?
Just, welcome to Commissioner Turner.
Okay.
Happy to continue working with you.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments?
Nope, well, just thank you and, glad to be here, glad to help out the county, continue to help out.
Okay. Dwayne, do you have anything for us this morning?
No, just welcome Kevin to the board and look forward to working with you. Just one quick thing, that we did get the letter sent out about, looking for Sue, got an email now, to 75 plus businesses that we've got some responses already, getting their emergency plans in case of inclement weather, so trying to do what we can to help alleviate stress.
Thank you. First of all, I also want to welcome Kevin to the board. I look forward to working with you the next few years. And then I also want to mention that Andy and I met with the representative from St. Elizabeth Dearborn on Friday to discuss their postponement of the new hospital, and we sat down with them and went over their talking points. I'm going to pursue this a little bit more, looking more for a stronger commitment from St. E's in regards to the building of a new hospital down by their existing cancer center, and I'd like to see a timeline, which they were unable to provide on Friday when we had that discussion. So I'll just leave it at that for right now.
And I'll say, just so everyone's aware, when the hospital was sold to St. Elizabeth, the asset acquisition agreement does indicate that St. Elizabeth is to maintain an acute care hospital in Dearborn County.
Right.
And that they would construct a new acute care hospital in the Greendale area. There was a time frame on the completion of the cancer center. There was not a time frame for the new hospital, but the maintaining an acute care hospital in Dearborn County was part of that agreement. And they understand that. And they're not backing away from that commitment. But I want everybody to be aware that that was in there.
Okay, is there any late arrival information? Okay, seeing none, public comment, if any.
Thank you, Commissioners. It was brought to my attention recently
Sorry,
that,
sir, can you state your name, please?
my name is Sam Mortensen from Hogan Township. I apologize for my voice, I lost it last week, but it's coming back strong, slowly but surely. And congratulations on your recent election.
Thanks, man.
It was brought to my attention recently that the Dearborn County Regional Sewer District is under pressure to potentially sell to a private entity, and I was just wondering, if each of you, three commissioners, would just take a moment to comment on your opinion on that. I know that you guys have, there are individuals who sit on that board who work for you guys, and I was just curious, if you could express your
Okay.
stance on that.
First of all, there's no pressure. Second of all.
I apologize, I'm just repeating what somebody on the board had told
Well,
me.
I have to correct you.
Okay, I stand corrected.
There is no pressure. The board, the commissioners agreed to provide the sewer district with, an organization, Barnes and Thornburg, that would do a deep dive into the sewer district's, current position financially, et cetera, and come back with recommendations as to how they felt the sewer district needed to pursue to be successful in the future. Either hiring someone to run their operation, or whatever other options that were presented, one of which was to sell the operation. Now,
Are you for the sale of that?
hang on. So, I've been to a lot of their meetings. They, financially are struggling.
The board or the company considering buying?
Hang on, let me speak. I got the floor right now. You can speak when I'm done.
Yes, sir.
And that, the projects that they're currently involved with, which is Lake Dildare and Guilford, would not have happened if the county would not have provided that type of financing. So going forward, the way I see the sewer district in the future, if we remain stagnant or status quo, there will be no new developments served by the current sewer district. My thought was if a for-profit organization took over the sewer district, then that organization, as a private entity, would be looking to, what all businesses do, is to make a profit, and they would expand to provide better sanitary sewers for the county. Now, and to finalize, in conclusion, we don't have the authority to tell the sewer board what to do.
Okay.
Information will be provided back to them, and then they can vote on whatever option they feel is best for the sewer board and Dearborn County. So keep in mind, regardless of what we think, the final decisions rest with that board.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Commissioner Turner, would you comment as well? Where's your stance on the sewer?
Well, this is my first meeting, Sam. I gotta get some more information. So,
You're not aware of anything going on with the sewer?
I know what's going on, I've heard what's going on with the sewer board, but once again, I'm transitioning from council, where you're doing fiscal stuff, and you really don't have a lot to do with the sewer board, the commissioners. So, I want to reserve my comments until I can get a little bit more information.
Okay. Commissioner Bischoff?
I need more information also. I don't like to give up assets of anything, so I'm a business owner, so I like trying to grow mine, so, and previously being on St. Leon's sewer, their president for 10 years or whatever it was, I would like to see them become self-sufficient, and that would need to be done. So like I don't like to get rid of assets. I think you lose control, you lose the ability to help your community, and I know a lot of times when sewer lines are put in, people are forced on the sewer, and a lot of people may not have that money. It's $10,000 to $20,000 to get hooked onto a city sewer system. So that's something that definitely would have to be looked at and made sure that it isn't detrimental to people who can't afford to hook on.
Sandy, wasn't there some, new legislation put into place in terms of sewers and et cetera, and if it failed, they would have time to repair that?
Septic and sewers are something that they mess with every legislative session, and it seems like one session they'll make it, give regional sewer districts or municipalities more authority to get people hooked on the sewer, and then the next session they swing back the other way and give people more ability to stay on septic. So I think most recently, if you're notified by the health department or IDEM that your septic system is in failure, I think the most recent change was you now are allowed to hire a private entity to inspect your system and say to the health department or IDEM, no, you're wrong, that's not correct. My system's fine. So that was the most recent thing. Municipal sewer works and regional sewer districts have the authority to do forced hookups within 300 feet of the property line. I believe with the projects that the Dearborn County Regional Sewer District is doing right now, those connection fees were contemplated for the Guilford area and for the Lakeville Deer area. But yeah, as far as the county's involvement, I think the only thing the county, we did the interlocal agreement, which authorized the commissioners to pay the legal expense for the Dearborn County Regional Sewer District, just because the DCRC doesn't have a lot of money. And that's been the county's involvement, and that's that Barnes and Thornburg that Jim mentioned. And so, yeah, my understanding was they were evaluating all the options available to the DCRSD, and that's what they put out an RFP. I haven't even actually seen any responses they've gotten from their RFP, but they were basically
It hasn't been presented yet.
It hasn't, okay. So they were casting a wide net.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to comment.
Well, one more thing, we also looked at least I did, with the new systems being built through Guilford, et cetera, their rates are gonna be kind of high. And the thought process that I had is that a company by the name of Envirolink, that in Indiana they call Crossroads, took over the facilities in Bryant. And they have like 1,300 or 1,400 customers. And if the acquisition did go through, those customers down in Guilford would have lower rates because you can spread that cost over a lot more people. So I was also looking at that part. Now, I know that the sewer district hasn't raised their rates in a number of years. So the people down that way are looking for a tremendous increase in their rates. I'll also point out that, and I'm gonna use loose numbers, that they have about 150 customers, and they've been operational since early 2000. You know, that 150, only about 100 people pay. So there's issues that need to be dealt with. I'm done.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else with public comment? Hearing none, Mr. Bischoff.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.